I wish, that we had done that earlier. The other one I want to highlight, which I wish that we had gotten involved in much earlier, and I know that this is a deep topic that we won't be able to go into that much, especially out here in the West, is looking into dividend-paying, participating whole life insurance, where it's set up in such a way that you have substantial cash value in the product from the outset. Now, again, there's a lot of controversy around this because a lot of insurance agents probably set it up in such a way that the death benefit is the focus, whereas the dividend-paying participating whole life insurance is an amazing product. Again, remember I said my immediate older brother is the chief audit executive of a dividend-paying participating whole life insurance company, mutual insurance company. But I wish we had started investing in that area much earlier, because there are living benefits that come with it. I'll give you one classical example, and again, for your audience, for people to look and research into this more, because what I have done over time is I've put it side by side with real estate investing. And talking about real estate investing, we've invested quite a bit in real estate investing. And I'll tell you some of the advantages. Number one is when you build up cash value in dividend-paying participating whole life insurance, when you build up significant cash value in it, you are able to access that cash value without having to go through all the underwriting. I mean, you and I know what you go through if you're trying to refinance a property.
Of course.
Whereas you don't have to go through that underwriting if you want to access your cash value in that product. Number two is apart from being able to access the cash value, seamlessly, it doesn't show up on your credit score. So you can access the cash value by pulling out equity loan, and you can use it for further investments.
For real estate even.
Yes, for real estate investing. So I wish we had started doing that earlier, because if we had started doing that earlier, premiums would have been cheaper. We would have been in that space much longer. And then the other thing I always encourage people to think about is that you're not a true investor. And, I say this cautiously and respectfully, but you're not a true investor if you don't think about passing wealth on to the next generation. So,
and that's really key in our
legacy
as well.
Yeah. So remember I said earlier, and I'm going off a bit on a tangent here. When I talked about my passion for human real estate investing, which is spirit, mind, and body, geographical real estate investing, which is water, land, and buildings. But the third piece of real estate investing I'm interested in is what I call heavenly real estate investing, which goes beyond self. You think about posterity. You think about generations after. A very good friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, and mentor for both of us is Alfonso Quadra. We're working, very good friend, business partner. We're walking down the street one day in Ottawa, and he pointed to a building. This it would easily be maybe a 100-unit apartment building. And he was telling us how that building has been in the family of, the family that owns that building for generations.
Wow.
So one has to always think about beyond yourself, passing on the knowledge, but passing on the assets to other generations. And real estate helps us to achieve that. This dividend-paying participating whole life insurance also helps to achieve that, because it does have significant tax benefits. It's actually the only insurance product that I know where when we pass on, it gets handed over to the next generation tax-free.
Not paying tax.
Zero tax. So those are the few things that I wish that I could do differently. And then, of course, knowledge acquisition. I wish that some of the knowledge I have now, I had acquired it much earlier. And I want to say, for us in this generation now, all of us put together, we are living in such an incredible time where the acquisition of knowledge is at our fingertips. Not just the computer.
It's easier now.
It's easier. But with AI technology, we should leverage everything that we have to be able to put ourselves in a position where we can do so much more to make a difference in the world we live in. And I will end with these three things, because my head is kind of running in, kind of spinning in circles. Is for people to also think about impact. I talk about the 3 M's of life. The first is making and managing relationships. The second M of life is making money.
It's important.
Yes. So I'm not shy about saying it. Anybody who says they don't like making money, they're either lying or they have detached from reality.
Exactly.
But not just making money as an end, but making money as a means to achieving many other ends. You have experienced it, I've experienced it, where people reach out to you. You want to help, but your ability to help is dependent on the resources that you have. So, not just helping people as a handout, but being able to empower them to now be in a position where they don't need to even ask for help again in future.
Yes.
And for that, you need to be financially empowered. So making money is a tool. Money is a tool. In the right hands, can be used to make a huge difference. And the third M of life is making a difference in people's lives. And you can see that those three
They tie into each other.
tie into each
Yeah,
other. So,
tie into each
so
other.
that's what I would highlight as being
Things that you will have done
done.
now. I want us to touch on Canada before I let you go, because I know we've been having conversation for about 1 hour now, and I want you to touch on Canada. This is a beautiful country we live in. We just went through probably one of the most significant elections in our lifetime, I would say. This is the first time I'm voting as a Canadian citizen in federal election. I voted in the Ontario election a few months ago. And a lot of things happen in this country. People tie the type of politician that will come in as to tie to our economy, they tie to our real estate. They even tie to how we Canadians will live comfortably. And I'm not going to take that away from people that think like that, right? What's your opinion on? You've been here for over a decade now, about 14 years, and you must have seen far more than what I've seen. I've been here going to 6 years now. So, what's your opinion on the Canadian economy related to the political situation of our country and real estate? Do you expect such a big impact, either now that we know who is the prime minister now, who is the leader now, or even before then? Do you see any, or have you seen something like this before in the last 14 years that you've been in Canada?
So I'll start from that last question. I think there are certain changes that have taken place. I would say in the last 5 years since the pandemic took place in Canada that clearly I don't think any of us have seen. Maybe people who obviously were born and bred here have never seen before. And certainly for those of us who came 14, 15 years ago, certainly haven't seen it. So there's been obviously a number of changes that have happened over the last 5 to 6 years that are significant. But before I delve into the Canadian question, as I will call it, I first want to use this opportunity to appreciate Canada as being a beautiful country, a country that has welcomed myself, my family, and a host of other people.
Of course.
That comes from a place of gratitude. Canada is definitely a beautiful country. Easier for those of us who are immigrants to say because we know where most of us came from and we know the challenges in various environments. And more importantly, we know that environment makes a huge difference or can make it a huge difference in the trajectory of a person's life.
Yes.
And it should never be taken for granted.
Yes.
I have this logo, which is 2 triangles in a circle. One triangle is spirit, mind, and body. Second triangle is relationships, occupations, and finance. The first triangle is what I call the structural triangle, the human structural triangle. The second triangle is what I call the functional triangle. But the main focus in answering this question is the 2 circles around the triangles, which the one circle has to do with your environment. The second circle has to do with time, because we're all here in this world for a limited period of time.
Yes.
But environment is critical.
It is.
Because if you take someone from a toxic environment and you put them in an enabling environment, that can be all that they need to do to thrive. And if you take somebody from a thriving and enabling environment and you put them in a toxic environment, that can be the thing that will completely destroy them. So the power of environment is so important. And so first and foremost, regardless of all the challenges, for you and I, it's easier to understand. Because when people are complaining about certain things in Canada,
you look by like, you guys are lucky.
I would say you haven't seen anything yet. So we must always come from that point of view, right, which is to even help people who are here to appreciate what they have.
Yes.
I'll give you a classical example, and I'll still answer your question, but I want to give a classical example because I'm a healthcare professional. I'm a physician. I'm a physician leader. I work in a healthcare environment. I contribute my quota with my team. But I've also lived in an environment where you have to pay for every single thing.
Yes.
I remember when I used to work in the emergency room back home. When a patient shows up in the emergency room back home, my first assignment back in those days was to give them a long list of things they need to go and buy.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? Someone is showing up in an emergency and you're giving them a long list of things they need to go and buy. And this was a teaching hospital setting. It was not a general hospital. So whereas if people show up in the emergency room here, because I see people in the emergency room here, you're not giving them the list of anything to go and buy. It's paid for. So I want to start with that premise to highlight the fact that Canada is a rich nation in terms of human resources, in terms of its open doors, in terms of its generosity, in terms of its grace. So even though, yes, it does have its challenges
which
economically,
we can get better.
politically can still get better, but we must not forget that relative to many other countries, it's such a peaceful nation.
Yes.
There is nothing like being in a country where you're not afraid that tomorrow you have to go and spend a night in a bomb shelter.